Hello and welcome to INBAC Present ProConnect. I hope you all are doing well. Most of you are already aware that INBAC's content creation has been focusing on importance of cybersecurity in building this month. So we thought to invite a specialist to ProConnect who would provide a deep global insight into this topic and help us understand many aspects of it in detail. Harsha, thank you for being on this show. We are utterly grateful.
Thank you, Adrija and INBAC ProConnect for having me today.
Harsha brings over 15 plus years of hands-on knowledge in cybersecurity, IoT, driving successful initiatives in operational technology, cybersecurity, and strategic growth for Fortune 500 companies. She has been successfully leading a real estate cybersecurity consulting firm supporting building owners and facility teams to defend their building systems from cyber threats. Harsha, before we move on to our discussion, we welcome you once again.
Thank you, Adrija, and I would like to say this. INBAC ProConnect is a great way to bring industry experts on one platform to share their knowledge about various aspects of building automation. And we call it connected. So this is a connected world. One thing to mention, INBAC is run by amazing women in the industry, and they help you navigate the fast-moving world of digital transformation. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your kind words, Harsha. Now, to begin with, I would request you to let us know what distinctly defines a cyber smart building.
But I will take a step back and start with the smart building because that's where the definition started. Smart building connects traditional building systems like building automation, elevators, access control, alarm systems into one common platform. And there's no single set of standards that define a smart building because everyone has their own definition. But one thing that is common is integration. And now when buildings are connecting their systems to IP networks, external networks like cloud, there is a potential that exists for hackers to take down the entire operations in a building. So what I consider a cyber smart building is the one that has foundational steps to frame the cyber challenge, like having a security by design approach for new and retrofit technology, vulnerability management function in place for connected devices and infrastructure, passive monitoring for critical assets, and having a cyber incident response plan in place to deal with security incidents.
Very true. This is a very relevant information. Now, we would like to know how important it is for businesses to be well aware of the cyber attacks and when should building owners plan for cybersecurity of their building.
Well, cybercrime isn't going away. And these building systems are connecting critical services that allows a building to meet the functional and operational need of building occupants. And protocols like BACnet, Modbus, LawnWorks are not inherently secure and they have their own set of vulnerabilities. So sophisticated hackers, they are aware of these and they have access to documentation that is required to construct commands to disrupt the operations of controllers and devices. And as these systems are becoming more and more connected, they are becoming easy target for hackers. Like malicious actors in the cyberspace, they have identified the gaps and they continue to exploit the vulnerabilities. And we have seen like they are taking full advantage while the world is dealing with COVID-19. So cybersecurity is important because it encompasses everything, and that is protecting sensitive data, personal identifiable information of tenants and occupants in a building, your equipment safety, brand damage, reputation, and most important, occupant safety. So now to your second question. Well, I would say there's no perfect time to start planning for cybersecurity. It's a must-have. It's an ongoing journey. So if you haven't started, start today.
Of course, yes. Absolutely agree with you. This brings us to the next question. Where should you begin your OT cybersecurity journey?
There's no absolute right answer to this. And when it comes to OT cybersecurity, there's no silver bullet. But we have seen an effective cybersecurity program comprises of people, process, and technology. The first step is to have asset visibility, like get a comprehensive understanding of the environment, what's there in the building, and what are the risks it presents. To safeguard property, employees, tenants, and data, property management team, owners, and managers should now start by taking stock of all the building systems, connectivity, and access points in a building. Now, when I say asset visibility, I'm not talking about just the pumps, the lighting fixtures, the sensors, HMIs in a building. The owners and the operators should understand that HMIs is about display, and they quickly detect a problem if they're in the environment. But what I mean by asset visibility is everything that is connected in the building and from outside is connected with the building. So, for example, the application for tenant management, ERP, access control, and then you have kiosk and digital display in a building, and many more such applications and hardwares. So mapping all the intersection points can help give the holistic picture of a property and a better understanding of what risk they could potentially face. Now, to summarize this, follow a 4-step approach for a stronger OT cybersecurity program. First is assess, like create an asset inventory and baseline. Secure, so once you have a clear understanding what's there, apply security controls. Third is monitor. And the last is respond. Establish a proper RACI matrix and define what to notify and whom to notify in case of event.
Thank you for explaining this in such a simple way. I'm curious to know now, who should be involved in the OT security program?
In many IT organizations, this answer is clear. Like security requires networking, endpoints, applications, cloud, regulations, and IT vendors and partners. But in OT security, this is a bit tricky. But however, getting the who right is critical, and it's often more complex in OT. But it depends on the organization, but ideally the who may include property management team, property managers, operations manager, network engineers, IT team, technology team, and in some of the cases, find external consultant and involved to manage the OT security.
This is quite an important bit of information for all of us. Don't you agree, friends? Yeah? So, Harsha, since you're explaining this so well, I'm going to ask you a very relevant question of this time. Why are IoT devices in a building such ideal targets?
IoT devices, and we see everywhere, at home, organizations and offices in buildings, and everyone is rushing and applying these IoT devices to their network. Things like monitoring sensors, occupancy sensors, and at home we have the smart thermostats, we have Google, Alexa, Siri, like all the IoT devices. The vulnerability of these IoT devices was highlighted when the Mirai botnet attack happened, and that was mostly targeting the video cameras installed in the building IT network, and they gained the access by using the default username and password. So the key risk with IoT is the number of endpoints, the sheer number of endpoints, meaning the number of devices connected to the internet, and that can offer attackers a point of entry that exposes the network to risk. So they increase the attack surface, and then several other reasons. Default configurations, default username and passwords, which are not changed after the deployment. Then inability to provide patch updates, because you see IT applications and IT systems, they come with regular patches, but we don't see such things when it comes to OT devices. Poor encryption. And finally, we have seen manufacturers, they do manage to produce systems and devices which come with adequate security, but the security doesn't last forever. So these set of things make IoT devices a very easy target.
Such a wonderful explanation, Harsha. Now, please enlighten us on this debatable topic. Does the cost of cybersecurity breaches justify the cost of cybersecurity?
Indeed, a debatable topic. Organizations know they need cybersecurity, but CISOs still struggle to get the funding necessary. So they need to justify cyber budgets, like prove return on investment, provide the metrics for success. Cybersecurity breaches and resources that are needed to make the system secure. One thing is common: cost. But the difference is the price for security that prevents a breach or that prevents an incident. It can be calculated. Like you can calculate the cost of resource, you can calculate the cost of security measures. But what's the cost of recovering from a breach? And now, if we talk with respect to smart building, the consequences of a cyber incident could be safety of occupants, reputational loss, trust of tenants, liability of data of people in the organization being misused, legal action, and damage to property, like many. But then, how to calculate the cost of reputational damage or tenant safety? So, in 2018, the cost of data breach study done by Ponemon, they have put the global average cost at US $3.86 million, and which is US $148, which is $148 per data record. So now you can like have a fair idea of what the cost is associated with the breach, but then it varies organization to organization, vertical to vertical. But one thing is there: every incident might not be a major one, but it does have an impact.
That was quite effectively put, Harsha. Now that we are a bit aware of the importance of cybersecurity in buildings, would you like to address the importance of it, specifically in office spaces, residences, or let's say in shopping malls or hotels?
So, from a property management view, from a real estate view, residential, commercial, healthcare, retail, they are different because the way they operate is different. But when we see from our side, it's a building that has traditional building system, that has IoT devices, that has technology in place. So one thing I would like to share, which is a real life scenario that one of my Connect shared in 2019. So someone in the IT team, so he's the property manager of one of the building. So the IT team, the person bought a printer and installed it and connected it with a free Wi-Fi. And like if you look at it, it's not a big deal. Like it's $100 printer, you bought it and you installed it and connected it with a free Wi-Fi. What a big deal. But the hacker was able to get access to the free Wi-Fi, connected with the printer, and started to print bomb threat. Now it could be real, it could be hoax, but the property management team had to evacuate the building. Now imagine the level of anxiety the occupants had. Plus there was a reputational damage, like a big brand damage. The leasing value got down. Then many of their tenants sued them that they're going to charge them with a legal action because there was a safety and the security issue. So when you combine hackers' criminal intent with the poorly protected building systems, like it's a real possibility. The other thing I would like to say is, we have heard of Shodan, and those who don't know what Shodan is, consider it as Google. Like it's a search engine that help you find devices that are on internet. Now you go on Shodan, you'll find building automation system, you find several IoT devices, cameras that are there. Now all you have to do is get the IP address, and the next step is try different username and passwords and get into the system. So it's real, it's there. So cybersecurity is definitely important. You need to protect the traditional systems and the technology and IoT devices in a building.
Thank you for bringing in this real-time example. That was really enriching, Harsha. Building owners, facility managers, are you listening? Yeah? So moving ahead, how mature would you consider the level of collaboration is currently for managing cybersecurity risk between IT, real estate services, property management, and vendors?
If I compare with other organizations in terms of collaboration, it's not that mature. Many are moving ahead, but some still are lagging. And we still hear these things from property management and real estate services. We are not a bank. Who's going to hack us? So the level of maturity is changing, but it's very slow. And in terms of collaboration, when it comes to putting a technology in a new building or in a retrofit, many times IT is not involved because they know the procedures, they know the right set of technology, they know the risk that the vendor possesses, but they are not getting involved in this. It's the property management and the external vendor. Now, coming to vendor, there is no standardization. Every vendor is coming in and putting their own technology, creating their own silos, and adding more risk in a building. So it's not that mature, the level that we need at this time, but we are getting there. It's moving in the industry.
Wow, I must say this immensely informative session will be a boon for many of us. You have very neatly summarized the know-how of cybersecurity in this short span, Harsha. Thank you so much. Thank you for enriching us. And thank you, viewers, for all your patience. If you have any queries, please drop in your comments. We would like to address them. Harsha, would you like to conclude this discussion by giving any key message to our viewers on importance of data privacy and cybersecurity?
Cyber risk is already a huge challenge and it's growing exponentially. Organizations must train their facility team and property management team on the topic of cybersecurity. Place robust operational process, invest in technology, put the right access control, invest in cybersecurity services. And as real estate is embracing technology as part of its daily operations, the security element is a must. To conclude, I would say it's important to know your operational environment, what's there in the building, understand what are the risks, and plan to mitigate them to avoid a cyber attack, and be cyber smart.
This has been a very illuminating discussion. A big thanks to Harsha for your engrossing contribution, and to all you viewers for watching us. Take care, bye-bye, until we meet again with yet another exuberant personality and an intriguing topic. Bye-bye.